Are we suspending DOPS? Welcome back, motherfuckers, to another episode of the Pucked Up Podcast. I am your host this week, Dee, and I am joined by Maul, Chris, and Danger. We got the whole crew here today. We are ready for an action-packed episode. We might get into a fist fight a little bit later, so be sure to stay tuned to see if that actually happens.
That fits the St. Patrick's Day spirit.
Yeah, I don't have an alcoholic beverage. Bad on me, but I'll drink to that.
I'm drinking Guinness like a good little New England Irish boy.
I'll get one later. Actually, I won't get a Guinness, but I'll get whiskey later.
There you go, Jameson or something Irish.
Oh, there you go.
I got see-through Guinness, see?
Oh, the see-through variety.
You have Danger water.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. But
that's where it comes from.
Or for him, just water.
Liquid death.
Death, that shit's so good.
The liquid death is so good.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, I think, as usual, we need to start off with a question to get our brains working. Chris, do you have a question for us this week?
So, at 18 years, 153 days old, Jordan Stahl became the youngest player in NHL history to do what? A, score a hat trick, B, score a goal, C, record a fight, or D, be ejected from a game?
Ooh, that is a good question. You told me it was a good question, and I didn't believe you.
18 years, 153 days.
I love that there's how many days?
That's the official record. When an age-based record is. Yeah. I so this way it's he's like 20 days older than the guy who did it before.
Right. No, I get it. I just love that they include that.
They're so specific.
20 months.
He's 47 hours.
All right. Well, if you have a guess, be sure to put it in the comments down below. Remember, please don't use Google. That's for losers.
Don't do it, or I'm fucking coming for you.
Fucking do it. We will know. Okay?
I know everything.
And then we'll give you the answer at the end of the episode. So watch all the way to the end so you can learn what it is that Jordan Stahl apparently did at 18 years and 163 days or whatever the fuck. I've already forgotten the question.
So I'll remind you later.
Good thing Chris repeats it at the end, so we'll be good. All right, from that, we're going to go into some PWHL news, and this is news that I am personally super duper excited about. So we will have our first ever nationally broadcast PWHL game. Let's give it up for the girls. Y'all did that shit. I am so excited. So Ion is going to be telecasting the New York Sirens versus Montreal Victoire game on Saturday, March 28th. We're telling you about it now so that y'all can go fucking watch it next weekend. And it's at 1 p.m. live from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. Ally Bank is presenting sponsor of both the historic broadcast and the Takeover Tour game itself. So I guess Ally Financial, not Ally Bank, but I think they're kind of the same thing. And Scripps Sports are teaming up to broadcast this. And this is the first ever game on national linear television in the United States. They already have broadcasts in Canada, I believe, but now you'll get to see it on Ion, which is an EW Scripps company. Again, this is going to be available free over air via pay TV, connected TV, free ad-supported streaming platforms. It'll be accessible now to more than 126 million U.S. households, representing a landmark moment in the league's development and a significant opportunity for new fans to discover the league. So we are super excited about that. So for some other highlights as well, they moved the NWSL Championship game to primetime broadcast for the first time ever in 2022, launching the Ally tip-off of premier early season women's college basketball in 2023. Ally elevated the purse for the U.S. Women's Open to the highest ever for women's golf, and then committing as the first rounding funder for Unrivaled, the Professional Women's 3-on-3 Basketball League. So Ally has been a huge supporter of women's sports, and that continues with helping us get into every television in America in just a week and a half.
They broadcast NWSL games very frequently now. I believe they have like a game of the week, which is actually pretty badass. So and I know they're doing they do some WNBA stuff as well as the Unrivaled
Mhm.
League, that 3-on-3. And it's on YouTube TV, so I can actually watch the game. But yeah,
Yeah.
they have TSN in Canada has a PWHL game of the week. So
Right.
they're weekly this season being broadcast out there, which is cool. So hell yeah, let's go.
This is exciting. This is groundbreaking for women's sports. They don't usually get a lot of like prime time, and 1 p.m. on a Saturday isn't like prime time, right? But it's not fucking 11 a.m. on a Sunday when everybody's asleep or at church. So I'll fucking take it. I'll gladly take that.
Yeah. The
So
hell
hell
else are you
yeah.
gonna do at 1 o'clock on a Saturday?
Right. So with that, let's go to our next update, which actually, Chris, I believe you have some news that just came out about our next international event for the men's side of things.
I do indeed. It was announced on Monday that the NHL and the NHL Players Association will be bringing back the World Cup of Hockey in 2028. It will be played in a couple different locations, which is cool and pretty far out there. It goes through the province of Alberta in Canada, mainly being Calgary and Edmonton, but as well as Czechia's capital city of Prague. NHL
That's dope.
Commissioner Gary Bettman, speaking at the press conference on Monday, he said that we think all three cities are going to do great things for the event. We believe this will be a huge success, highlighting the best on best that we believe is the best of any sport with the world's greatest athletes. Notably, and I don't know if you guys heard about it, but rumor is that Russia will be allowed to compete.
Wow.
I don't know how I feel
I
about that,
think
if I'm honest.
How do we feel about that? Meanwhile, as we see the lights flashing, so someone scored a goal during the Leafs
Yeah.
game.
who I wanted to score a goal. I think that they should be allowed to play because here's my opinion on international competition. The purpose of it is to bring the world together through a common interest that across language barriers, across backgrounds, across race, across religion, you have something that everyone likes, right? And that is hockey or baseball or football or basketball or music or whatever. Like that is the focus. So who stop focusing on what people who they don't have control over what their governments do. So it's not fair to them that they don't get to go out and represent a country, that they're proud of, because here's the reality of it. Like, you don't have to like everything that your government does. There's something different when you're doing it for the pride of where you come from. You know what I mean? And it's like, don't take that away from the players because of the ignorance of the people who sit in the positions of power. So I think that they should be allowed to play and represent their countries because it's an honor to do that. It's something that you don't get the opportunity to do often, and I think that it's an important thing to help bring the world together and remind us that we're not so different.
I think that with Russia specifically, it is actually a multifaceted issue because the original issue at hand wasn't just uh, Russia's world politics. It was actually that their coaching staff was helping the athletes to dope and to use
Yes.
performance enhancers and all of that. And so that's what drew original controversy. And then what furthered that is while they were under investigation for a lot of those things, then Russia decided to, launch a full-on war against another country. And then the
Yeah.
IOC was kind of like, well, that violates a different rule of ours. And so for those two combined reasons, you done here. And so for that, like, I think absolutely there needs to be some sort of opportunity for the Russian athletes to be able to come back and play in an international stage. However, I don't know, because it's really hard to get visibility into these kinds of things, if the systemic issues that were causing Russian coaches to force their players to use performance enhancing substances or treatments. I don't know if that's been eliminated. And so without having like more information, I can't really make a standpoint because I'm totally against doping or using any of the like recycled blood treatments and the fucking whatever, the spaceship to Mars treatments or whatever the fuck they're doing to give themselves an edge. I'm against that. Absolutely. And it's kind of hard because like in some situations, you cannot really say no to a position of authority like that. For a coach saying like, you're going to do this, or a doctor saying we're giving you these treatments. And so you can't really hold it against a player, but at the same time, for the athletes at least that are Russian born and in the US playing in the US leagues where that is not happening, they also shouldn't have that held against. So it's like it's a bit of a quagmire, to be honest, to sort of wade through. So I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if allowing them back full force is the answer, is what I'll say there.
His
I will
arm's
say-
so sore. He gotta
Thanks.
hold it up.
Thanks. I will say the World Cup of Hockey, though, is only exclusively NHL players.
Correct.
That is true.
So
So that, yes.
they're already being tested religiously. So like I fully agree where you're coming from with the doping and stuff like that, because that drastically defeats the purpose of the event, right?
And it wasn't just
But-
hockey. It was the entire Olympic
Yeah, no, because
yeah.
it was the
roster
basketball
of
teams
athletes,
and, stuff
and
like
it was
that too, right?
multiple times. It wasn't just
Yeah.
one, which is
So
the
I
initial issue.
wholeheartedly am in agreement with that, right? Like
Yeah.
that ruins the spirit of the competition, so that defeats the purpose, and you shouldn't be there if you're gonna be, negligent like that. But in an event like this where it's controlled specifically by like the NHL, or like even when they did the Four Nations, it was only NHL players. You don't have to worry about that because they hyper focus on the player's health, so they're actively testing them probably regularly.
But the
Yeah.
only thing that is an issue there is that adding them in effectively sets the playing field for the IOC to invite them back into play. And so people can't, you and I might have an understanding that World of Hockey is different from IOC operations, but not everyone does. Like, not everybody understands that this is outside of that. And so they're going to see this as IOC involvement in an international tournament that is allowing people to play under the flag of the nation of Russia, even though that has been previously banned. So they're, because of other people's like ignorance, I'll call it.
Yeah.
There is a perception here that is something that they will have to tackle as well. And they'll have to be clear in how they're communicating that level of involvement so that there isn't any sort of mixed perception about this is,
Yeah.
us setting the playing field to allow them back into 2030 games or anything like that, because I don't know if we're there yet from the IOC either. Again, because it was multiple
Right. Well, and
multiple
this could
times.
potentially be a good stepping stone to get back the trust to do that, and that's the nice thing is they have 2 years, so they better market it good, and hopefully they, if they need to build a stadium for this, or an arena, they can get on that now and not wait.
Well,
until the
thankfully,
last
they're
minute.
playing in 3 cities with professional teams.
Yeah, I
So
think in
there is
Prague they
no
said it's like the
issue.
O2 Arena, which is such a cool name for arena.
Yeah, because the Prague has a oh my god, I forget what league it is. But they have a team, so
Such
Yeah.
a cool name, the O2 Arena, dude.
2 arena.
That's what it is in London too.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, listen, I agree with both of you. I'm firmly of the belief that I'm the same way. I don't feel like the obvious political standpoint of Russian, we don't need to tell you what it is if you haven't been living under a rock the past few years. I don't feel like that should be held against the players, but the doping situation that I have also taken a hard stance against. Yeah, no, I have fully believed in that ban, but I also believe in the opportunity of second chances for those who have earned it. So I think this is their second chance. This is the hockey or Russian Hockey Federation's second chance at you're getting the opportunity now to again compete in an international competition. Granted, like Maul said, it is all NHL players, and I imagine that if the NHL is going to be running this, I would imagine that they're going to run this the way that they run the NHL, and we will not have any of those issues, and if we do, they'll be weeded out. But this is your chance to show that, hey, we don't do this anymore. This is not our thing anymore. We're here to compete fairly, and let's be honest.
Have the
Having an
top
international
dogs lead by example. Yeah.
yeah, but how weird is it to think when you look at hockey nations to not have Russia included in international hockey competitions? For those of us that know the sport, it feels a little weird.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. It feels like the teams are getting cheated out a little bit from not playing the best of the best. So
I feel like if Russia,
this is a good chance
I
to
was
see.
I was saying, I feel like if Russia does get allowed to compete in this, we're not going to see Ovi retire until after. He'll play for Russia one more time, and then at the end of the 2028 season, and he's broken 46 more goals or records. That's when he'll retire.
Because he doesn't give a fuck.
He does.
We'll see. Hey, time will tell. I won't say no to more over years, to be quite honest with you.
Danger, did you have any thoughts?
No, I'm right there with you guys. Like,
It's a weird situation.
It does feel weird to potentially not have Russia in it, but there are Russian NHL players that might be able. It's one of those like where the people that won't be doping would still be able to play, just not for Russia per se.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they in the past the IOC has allowed them to play as peoples of Russia or something like that. They didn't get to fly under their flag, but they did get to still
under
represent
the Olympic flag.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I think that's fair. Yeah, I don't know, complicated, but what's not complicated but still relates to the IOC is what happened most recently in the Paralympics. Danger, you want to fill us in on what
this
what we did over there?
dynasty that we have going on?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Because it is a dynasty. Team USA's sled hockey squad just made history in Milan again. The United States beat Canada 6-2 to win an unprecedented 5th straight Paralympic gold medal. No hockey team, Olympic or Paralympic, has ever done that. And the way they did it was physical, emotional, and they were absolutely dominant. This was a rivalry game with real heat. Canada came in undefeated. The US came in hungry. And from the opening puck drop, it was just bodies flying everywhere. Made me think of let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. But the Americans controlled the pace early. It didn't take long for the momentum to swing. Jack Wallace set the tone. He opens the scoring on the power play, traffic in front, picks his spot, buries it. And that was just the start. Wallace ended the night with a hat trick, 7 shots, and an assist. He was named best defenseman of the tournament for the second Paralympics in a row, and definitely played like a man possessed. The new kids definitely showed up as well. 19-year-old rookie Caden Beasley jumped on a loose puck, steals it clean, rips it home to make it 2-1. He finishes the tournament with 5 points, tied with fellow rookie Brett Bolton. This roster is deep, and in their opening game, every single U.S. skater recorded a point, which is completely unheard of. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
If we could do that for our teams every game, just everybody on the roster gets a point. That would be phenomenal. Anyway. Wallace adds another in the second, completes a hat trick early in the third, and even when Canada pushed back, especially Liam Hickey, who was doing everything he could, the U.S. just kept answering. And then there was Declan Farmer, which, what can you even say at this point? He breaks 4 Paralympic scoring records in this tournament alone. In the gold medal game, he scores a ridiculous shorthanded goal, loses the puck, gets it back, jams it under the goalie's sled, and then adds an assist. He now holds the all-time Paralympic records for goals and points, and was again named MVP, which he is definitely rewriting the history book in real time. Canada pulled their goalie late, and Brody Roybal says, "I'll take that," and drops the empty netter to seal the 6-2 win. The U.S. outshoots Canada 26-15, and goalie Griffin Lemaire, only in his third Paralympic start, stopped 13 shots and looked calm all along. Here's the wild part, though. This completes a full U.S. hockey sweep. 3 weeks earlier, the U.S. beat Canada in gold for both the men's and women's Olympic tournaments. Now, the Paralympic team finished the job, all 3 golds in one game. That has never happened before. Our resident Canadian. How
Yeah.
you feeling, bud?
Scoreboard. You guys did good this year, but
Well,
historically,
the scoreboard for
I mean,
this game
in
read 6-2.
Historically, we've done it 5 times in a
Well,
row with the Paralympics.
yeah, historically, we've done something nobody else has ever done.
Yeah.
So 5 back-to-back
Does
titles.
anybody
Sorry,
else hear
was that?
that?
Did I say back-to-back? It was back
does-
to
Yeah,
back to back to back to
five.
back titles.
Does anybody else hear that? Does anyone
Sure.
else hear Freebird?
Oh wait,
Freebird?
I think I am.
So the U.S. sled hockey team is definitely a dynasty. 5 straight golds, records shattered, veterans dominating, rookies stepping up, and the rivalry of Canada that just keeps delivering absolute chaos. If you're not watching sled hockey yet, where have you been? You're missing
Honestly,
some of the best hockey being played anywhere.
It was
To
awesome.
be fair.
It was
Can
awesome.
we also say that thank God it was at a good fucking time? Like at Sunday at 11 is actually reasonable. It was fucking like 7 a.m. for the men's ice hockey team to win theirs. Thank
Yes.
God that they were like, you know what? Let's do it at a time that people will actually be fucking awake. I
will-
love that.
I will say though, like watching them play was amazing, but seeing how they made the ice and like the bench, like because they did kind of like a
Accessible,
tour
mhm.
on how they make it like accessible. The only thing they didn't make accessible to the players was the locker room to the venue,
the
because that
ice,
was a
yeah.
4-minute scooter ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to scoot themselves along. Which,
And like the
this
video of the
weekend's
guy
articles,
showing you how long it
needed
is, and you fast forward it, like he
T-Swift's
fell
little
off the
rig.
scooter
Yeah.
because it wasn't like, and I'm like, really, guys, come on, like.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's
I saw
cool
that
how they
too.
have the bench set up where the bench is literally just ice. So can you imagine how cold they are just
Honestly,
being on ice the whole time?
but like
Well,
I
that
don't
and
know
the
why we can't
glass.
have that for like for regular hockey as
Everything.
well. Because like why can't you just throw a bench in there when when it's players who don't need the sled apparatus, right?
Right,
So like
right.
but to still be able to just like skate over the threshold, like no worries, no
So
problems,
cool.
so fucking easy.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, why don't more teams you know what we would see way less of too many men.
We would absolutely see way less too
Yep.
many men penalties.
And tripping trying to
100%
get
we
into the
would.
box or the bench.
Yeah,
Just
because
for
they're having to
real.
like jump over the little thing because they're trying to
Yeah.
be quick for it.
Right.
And it's like we don't if we just made it accessible for everyone at all times always, we don't need to do that. Because again, putting a little bench in there is not hard. You can
No.
throw that bitch in real quick. So more accessibility benefits everybody. And also I will say, shout out to the US women's sled hockey team. The Olympics do not have a women's sled hockey team. Like they don't have it available as a contest because you need 8 countries in order to be able to host it at the Olympics. There are currently only 5, and I had it up as to which 5 those are. US, Canada, Norway, Great Britain, and Australia. I know that there
Oh.
are 3 other nations out there that are probably so fucking close. Whatever we can do to get more women into sled hockey. The US has started putting on free fundraisers or like free events to get more women in, to fly them out from their respective countries and train them over here so that we can eventually one day, hopefully maybe by 2030, see women's sled hockey, which is going to be just as fucking badass as the men's. And I cannot
Finland
wait
and
for that day.
Sweden. Where the fuck you at?
Yes, I know you
Like-
have disabled people who would love to play hockey.
Czechia.
Get them on the ice.
Like where the fuck are our big hockey nations at?
Yeah,
Get your shit together.
right.
Well, I
They'll
wonder-
get there. They'll
I
get
wonder if
there.
it has part to do with like the cost of the equipment, because like
It is.
sled hockey is like
sleds-
next level, because that is literally like your sled is molded to your body, because it
Yeah.
has to, because everyone is different with you know,
With their type
they
of disability,
need
yeah.
for a sled, right?
Right.
So like
Yeah.
that's gonna be like crazy expensive. I mean,
It is.
regular hockey's stupid expensive. The fact that a
It
hockey
is.
stick is $500
Yeah.
and like youth junior gloves are $180 brand new, those
Yeah.
sleds must be worth thousands.
Oh,
They
yeah.
definitely are. So the cost is definitely a barrier to entry for a lot of people, which is why we need to see more programs stepping up and supporting Paralympic athletes because they
Absolutely.
need
Yeah.
extra funding because of how expensive it is to get, like, when you think of runners that have that really cool leg that has like the bendy springy bit. I don't know what
Yeah.
it's called.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to Paralympic athletes who are like, you fucking dumbass. That's very clearly called this. And I'm like,
They're
oh, the bendy
actually
springy thingy. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's expensive. And so not everyone who could be like an Olympic level runner has the access to because it's so difficult.
Mhm.
So we need more companies to step up and start sponsoring Paralympic athletes so that we can see more of them. And also, I got fucking beef with you. Feckin' beef with you, NBC, for not airing the Paralympics the same way you aired the Olympics. We had several events that had no fucking announcers, and it was just like ASMR downhill skiing. And I'm like, bro, come on. We had so much hype around the Olympics. Last Olympics in Paris, we had so much hype around the Paralympics. People want to watch this shit. It's cool as fuck to see like these individuals go for their dreams and accomplish them. Let us see it. Let us see all of it and be as excited about it for the Paralympic athletes as we are for the Olympic athletes. I will get off my
Yeah.
soapbox, but I just had to say that.
And no, I agree. That's bullshit. NBC has done a great job with the regular Olympics, but like, why are they not giving the Paralympics, which in my opinion I think is arguably a little more impressive, that these Paralympic athletes are able to do almost exactly what the fully able-bodied Olympic athletes do. We need to be doing better with this. NBC needs to step their shit up because that is
Yes.
absolutely unacceptable in every facet. I fully agree.
Well, and in most cases, the Paralympic sport is harder to play
Yeah.
than the regular sport. And like I know this from experience because like my whole life I've downhill skied, right? And in high school I broke my leg and it was of course the first day skiing, so the only option for me to continue to ski was I had to use one of the bucket skis where you sit on a ski and you use your hands and stuff and someone has to sit behind you and kind of help control you and stuff. That was 1,000 times harder than just downhill skiing. Getting
Yeah.
up the hill was hard, getting down the hill was a challenge, and just getting into the equipment was a challenge too. So like I'm not saying that like I'm an expert in what they go through because obviously I don't, but I'm saying that I've been in a situation where I've had to use equipment
Mhm.
to do the same thing and I've
Yeah.
seen how much more difficult it is. Like just be there, support them, give them everything they need, and because these guys are the best of the best because they're men and women because they're doing something that hundreds of thousands of people who have the or going through the same things or similar things that they do don't have the drive, motivation, or confidence
Yeah.
to do it. So they're
Yeah.
proven that the impossible is possible, and I think it's our responsibility to help aid them in that mission.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, are we ready? I mean, it is St. Patrick's Day, so someone has to get into a fight. Maul, are you
Leave it to the
ready?
two New Englanders.
Yeah, to kick this off.
Come here, you motherfucker.
All right, so everyone watching the podcast has got to have heard of the suspension that took place last week between Radko Guda and his hit on Austin Matthews. There's a lot
Who is my
of
favorite?
anger.
Gudas great cheese.
I love it. I love Gouda because he's gonna be our Swiss cheese. He's gonna be our honorable Swiss cheese of the week.
It's a she's the
Not
man quote.
Swiss.
Chris wants to quote. Anyway,
It's a bit disrespectful to our captain, but I'll let it go.
so there's a lot of
He's not
controversy
Swiss.
between whether he was suspended enough or was he not suspended long enough. We have players like Connor McDavid putting in his 2 cents, saying that he doesn't think the suspension was long enough. We have everyone in the sports world talking about this right now. Now, I do want to point out before we get into what we think, I do want to talk that George Peros explained why the NHL's Department of Public Safety made the decision to give Gudas a 5-game suspension and not anything more. Now, he said, and I quote right here, a suspension for 6 games or longer would have given the player an opportunity to appeal the suspension to a neutral arbiter. A suspension of 5 games or less, it cannot be appealed. So essentially, he said, the reason we did 5 games is because now he doesn't have a choice. He has to serve the suspensions. Anything more, they could have appealed it and he could have gotten no suspensions.
Now, he would have gotten none, but he could have gotten a drop to like 3 games or something.
Or something far less. Now, the hit on Austin Matthews, he sustained a grade 3. I don't know what the hell the grading scale is.
I'll show it on screen right now for everyone. They can see it.
So right here, I think it's on this side, a grade 3 MCL tear and a quad contusion in his left leg, and he will miss the rest of the season.
A contusion is just a fancy word for bruise, so that I'm not as worried about. It's the grade 3 MCL tear that I'm like, that sounds awful.
Tear.
They're milking it by throwing in like he's got a hematoma
too.
He's got a hematoma.
Yeah. Like that's just the scientific term for a bruise, my guy. I have one of those right now.
I have several.
So knowing now what I know about the full scope of suspensions, because I didn't realize that they could argue suspensions.
Oh yeah.
I knew that. As a
I think that fair. I think that it's good, but I do think it was a dirty hit.
See, I don't think it was intentional.
Yeah, so I guess what is
intentionally what needed to be.
I guess
I
feel the offside opinion question that we're going to answer.
So the offside opinion would be it's a 2-parter. Do you think the suspension is long enough and the punishment fits the crime? And the second part B is, do you feel that it was an intentional hit? I say yes, the suspension was where it should be, knowing now what I know.
Yeah,
and I also say yes, it was an intentional hit because he led with his knee hard. He turned right into that, and he had his knee like he was doing like a Superman punch from left field, like he was going for it.
This is also,
I feel like Danger is ready to go on this.
Real quick, what's your favorite team, Mo?
The Maple Leafs.
Okay. Danger?
Yeah, Danger, I want to hear your thoughts because you're
I think he already had weight on that front knee prior to realizing that Matthews was there. I think by the time he realized Matthews was there, there wasn't much he could do to avoid the contact. But playing devil's advocate against myself here, I will say Radko Gudas has a history of sticking his knee out as a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been suspended for kneeing before, but he has had 5 total suspensions for a total of 26 missed games. Though it hasn't, like his most recent one was 2019. It's like that's 6 years ago. So that's to say he probably, I mean, these were 15, 16, 17, 19 were his other suspensions. So I think he cleaned up his game a bit because he probably got sick of missing games because he had some long suspensions. So, that can't be ignored. And I'm glad that they referenced, like, he sticks his knee out as a pattern. But that still, to me, doesn't mean it was an intentional hit. I think that's just how he puts weight when he's turning that way on his skates. It's unfortunate. Yeah. It sucks balls. Sorry, Austin. I hate that you're going through this, but I truly don't think that it was an intentional hit. It was a nasty hit, but I personally don't think it was intentional.
Yeah.
Now watch Radko come out on social media and be like, "Nope, meant to do it.
Meant to do
No
it.
regrets."
Loved every second. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
no
with you,
regrets.
Danger. I think that when I watched it, and now granted, I watched it not happening in real time, right? I watched it in the recap video. Um, and it is slowed down, so it obviously changes things. But even watching it at full speed, to me, it looks like you can see how far his legs are apart and that he is making a turn to come back. His stick is in his left hand. He's very weakly trying to go for the puck. I think he expected Austin to go a little bit of a different way, and then the contact wouldn't have been knee to
Yeah.
knee. But
Yeah.
obviously, he can't foresee Austin's thoughts and movements. And so his knee was really extended, and I think that that's something that he needs to investigate correcting. Like, I don't think that that's good form. I'm not going to say that it was dirty. I'm not going to say that it was like intentional, right? Because I can't really see that, and I have not seen a pattern of him sticking his knee out in all the times that we've played Anaheim over the last couple of seasons, or when he played for my own team. I don't recall seeing any of that. So it's kind of hard for me to be like, not like he's not someone that has such a notable pattern. Like, he's not a Nick Cousins, right? Where Nick Cousins
Right.
has a penchant for punching people in the fucking head on
he has
purpose.
an absolute like record of headshots and has been suspended
Yeah.
for such on multiple occasions for sure.
So because I don't see that with Radko, I'm not going to assign like malice here. I think it was an unfortunate series of happenstances that created a really horrific injury for Austin Matthews. And I mean, thank God the Leafs are playing like shit anyway, right? You might not have had a
Anymore.
chance at the playoffs.
Not anymore.
Yeah, 2 games. You've come back from winning, or you've
Yeah.
won 2 games this
Yeah.
week. So I'll reserve, because you've definitely been on a 2-game winning streak at other points in the season, and then slid into 8
Lost
games
12,
of
yeah,
fucking
lost like
shitting
12.
the bed.
Right.
So I'll reserve judgment until we get to 4. But I think that the number of games was reasonable. I think 5 is reasonable considering the level of injury, considering that you can't really ascribe intent, but it very clearly was a pronounced knee. Regardless of whether or not he meant to, he needs to fix his skating so that he doesn't put himself and other players in this situation ever again. Because let's be honest, that couldn't have that had to have hurt Radko too. That knee-on-knee contact,
He
God.
was
I'm sure
visibly
Radko
shaken
also
for
has a
a good portion of the
contusion.
game after. Yeah.
Yeah, so Radko needs to fix his own shit. I think 5 games is reasonable. I think anyone who's like, it needs to be more, I think they're looking at the wrong fucking thing. Because what we have all consistently said on this show is that Dops needs to be more consistent and fair when it comes to shots to the head, because that is what we're seeing the most of, and that's what's the most damaging lifelong for players,
Yeah,
as
CTE wise.
opposed to like knee injuries, things like that. Knee injuries can fuck you up for life, for sure, but
Yeah.
not the same way that CTE will.
I mean, look at McAvoy. He can't keep teeth in his mouth this year.
He keeps
lost
keeps
more
taking
teeth.
shots to the head,
Yeah.
and
To be fair, neither can I. So, you know,
Yeah,
I don't play
I
hockey
mean,
professionally.
Was it
McAvoy
last
took-
week?
he took up
Last week he what?
2 pucks to
2
the
or
face
3
so
more
far
teeth?
this year. He's
Yeah.
gotten
Well, and then he
elbowed,
got
broken
an
his
elbow.
jaw.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's lost what, like 8 or 9 teeth so far this
Yeah,
season?
he's missing the
including
majority of the
2 or
bottom
3
of his
last
bottom of
week.
his teeth. Yeah.
Well, so like that's why I don't have smoke for Dops on this call. I have all the smoke for them on a bunch of other shit that's happened this season.
Right.
But this is not the one that I'm going to get up in arms about. I understand that people are up in arms because it's Austin Matthews, and he is the sweetheart of the Maple Leafs for sure. Especially now that, Marner's in Vegas or whatever. So I think like I get it. I get where the outrage is coming from. I just don't agree with it. I'm so sorry, Mal.
Now I'm going
Chris?
to make my comments, and I am removing all biases from me being a Ducks fan. Obviously, Radko Gudas is our captain. I always respect for the captain, but I got to agree with D and Danger. Like, when you watch Gudas, yes, has his knee very predominantly sticking out, but Matthews makes a move. Gudas is leaning in, and you can see his motion leaning in to make a body contact hit, where Matthews makes a move to get out of his way. In that situation, their knees made contact. two things are at play here as the reason to why he was suspended. A, the severity of the injury of the player that was the victim in this scenario. And B, Radko Gudas' history with suspensions. Yes, he has been suspended 4 or 5 prior times.
But not for 6 years, which is a lot.
Right, but we have seen
All
in the
things
past
considered.
that players that have a history of suspensions, regardless, do always levy heavier fines. I also find it
Almost one.
hilarious every time somebody mentions Department of Player Safety member George Peros, considering he's a former Duck. I remember how you played. It's fucking ironic that you're in charge of player safety.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. It was actually 3 key points on his suspension. It was the injury, the history, and knee-in.
And they are cracking down on knee-to-knee contact injuries, while he was also issued a 5-minute major penalty and a 10-minute game misconduct. He was ejected from the game. I think it makes it harder too, because this is Austin Matthews. He is one of the star players of the league. He is a massive name, and he was injured due to knee-to-knee contact, and that doesn't help any factor. As much as I don't believe this was intentional, I'm okay with the suspension. Listen, I get it. In this situation, you have to make a call. You do. If you're Department of Player Safety, you've had players and fans complaining for years about protecting players. I'm all right with the call. I'm fine with it. But for players to be like, oh yeah, well, I don't think that, or I think they should be suspended more. Listen, I get the outrage. I totally understand, but it's like, I don't, and this is coming from someone who has watched the last 2 seasons of Radko Gudas, who has watched him in prior stuff. He's a veteran now. He's an Asian guy. He's a captain now of a team. He is a leader. So, leading by example for him is he has absolutely cleaned up his play. If anything, since he has gotten to Anaheim, statistically, he has lowered his penalty minutes. I just think this is a very unfortunate situation that a player was injured, and that is awful. And we all know I have nothing but love for Austin Matthews, and I hate that this happened. I hate it so much. Someone had to pay the price, and unfortunately, that was Radko Gudas. And it is what it is. Hindsight is 2020, right? Obviously, he's going to think about, oh, maybe if I change directions, the what if scenario is gone. It is what it is. He's serving his suspension. They're moving on. What I don't like is, since that suspension, there has been a massive uptick in aggression from other teams against the Ducks and players who had nothing to do with it. Notably, on Saturday night when the Ducks played the Montreal Canadiens, they spent the entirety of that game doing nothing but cross-checking, antagonizing, trying to start fights, trying to get reactions out of players because they were frustrated with Gudas, the Gudas hit on Matthews. I'm not okay with that. First off, if any team is going to take shots at them, I'd be totally fine if it was Toronto. Brother, y'all have earned that right. I'm okay with that. Who the fuck are you, Montreal Canadiens, to be doing shit like that? Like, it's not your fucking business to take up arms and offense for another team when they can absolutely do it themselves. Oh, and by the way, they beat the Ducks 6-3 that night. So Toronto obviously wasn't too upset after that. They went and whipped the shit out of the Ducks on the scoreboard. So I take offense to teams going after the Ducks when they weren't involved in that, just to get a rise out of them.
I will say, I don't know if they did it to get a rise out of Anaheim for this situation, or if that's just the play that we're seeing out of Montreal right now. Because that's not the first time that I've seen. Oh, they did? Okay.
A couple of
Because I
players did
hadn't
say
seen
they weren't
that.
happy with them. So I was like, that's not cool.
Yeah. Because I've seen some shitty play out of Montreal this season. So that's the only reason I was like, that might just be them. But if their players are coming out saying that, like, we're trying to do some on-ice retribution, which, again, the only person you should be doing that against, if at all, would be Radko, and he is currently sitting at home on his couch. So, like, you hitting other players of the team doesn't really do anything. It doesn't send that message that you think it does. But Maul,
Correct.
I am curious to hear your take on it. Now that we all have said that we agree with the penalty, but we don't think that it was intentional. What are your further
So,
thoughts on that?
while I've been listening to you guys, I've been watching the video just on repeat to see what, right? And I still think that it was intentional hit. Now whether he meant to do as much damage as he did, probably not. But I think it's no different than when we see those intentional hits for Borden. When we see other aggression, right? Looking at it, Austin Matthews was never going to continue straight with that puck with how he received it. Guda's right skate wasn't even being used in any sort of directional movement. I mean, these guys on ice skates are damn near close to friggin' ballerinas and figure skaters with what they can do with precision control.
Well, you have to
He
be
had
nowadays.
he had no control going into that hit, and that knee was so far extended. It was with the I think, and again, I'm gonna take away my like the Leafs being my team and stuff, and just look at it like fundamentally. Like, I think that is a dangerous, reckless way to go in to check someone. You check with your shoulders and your upper body, not your knees.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That's a fair
And
take.
again, when you look at their skates, right, you can see Austin Matthews gets the puck and immediately starts pulling it away, and Radkos does nothing with his right skate to try to turn or pivot towards the direction that Matthews is moving the puck. He just goes full steam ahead right through him like he's not even there. So I think it's an intentional hit. It's unfortunate that it did what it did. Hopefully Austin, can recover in the off season and, start playing golf early, and hopefully the team can somehow rally the rest of the season and do something with it. I'm a firm believer of, there's still time,
Mhm.
they're not horribly out of a wild card spot. Yeah, I mean, I think it's no different than, some of the other very questionable hits that we've reviewed this year, where you look at them and you're like, I mean, there was intent behind that, like whether they had some beef from the Olympics, pre-Olympics, post-Olympics, in the locker room, whatever. I just think that there was intent behind that hit to, like give him a reality check, dose of whatever.
And
But
that's
again,
fair.
I spent like a lot of time looking at the skates and the directions, and like even when it slowed down, as soon as Matthews touches that puck, that he's not going to continue straight or even try to take a shot, because Matthews historically, every time he gets the puck when he is on that side of the net, immediately goes for a one-timer every single time. So the fact that he wasn't wound up for that means he knew there wasn't going to be a shot, which means he was going to pass it. And you think the players should be able to read the body signs of that too, and not go into it. So
Yeah, I think we just view it differently. Because I think that Matthews might have. He then just makes a move based off where he thinks Gudas is going. So,
I think
ultimately,
they just misjudged each other.
I think that it's just a difference of opinion between us. But the great thing about this is that means that there's plenty for our mother puckers to talk about in the comments down below as to how they view it. So please let us know. Do you see it as intentional, unintentional? Do you think that 5 is reasonable? Do you think that it should have been more, should have been less? Where do you land on this whole debate? We'd love to engage with you in the comments down below. But I will say, if Dops is going to be consistent about kneeing, I will applaud that decision, because consistency is something that we all advocate for here. So
Right.
if they're claiming they're going to be stepping up in this, I applaud you, Dops.
Yeah.
Do it with everything else, for the love of God.
And
All
I'm
right.
not mad that he's suspended, and I think, I agree that the suspension's right where it should be, for the record.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that brings us, we've already been talking about some of our naughty boys and hardy boys in this segment, but why don't we go a little bit further with it? Danger, why don't you take us home? Tell us who's
Yeah.
been fined, suspended, and who's hurt.
Really, it's just the one suspension, right? It's Radko Gudas for kneeing Austin Matthews. He got suspended for five games, forfeiting $104,166.67 of his salary, bringing our season total, well, season and preseason, in a total of 164 games suspended, 6 preseason, 158 regular season games total, brings us to $1,154,296.88 to the Players Assistance Fund. So
I will just once
amazing.
again say that I am so jealous of their 5 games being way more than my annual salary. And if they
104,000,
want
yeah.
to donate it to my bank account, I will give them the number. NHL, you call me.
Literally.
As long as you give me the 20 grand I need to fix my teeth. Because I was going to ask for the same thing. So, you know,
I'm
I'll
just a
let you
broke
keep the
bitch in
rest if
general.
you give me the 20 that I need. At least for the top teeth. Anyway, so that's all we have for suspensions and fines that are new.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that, Danger. All right, that leads us into our next segment. Chris, I believe you have that for us.
It is time for everyone's favorite segment. It is time for the Obscure NHL Player of the Week. Oh, the quacking is fitting because this is a player by the name of Francois Beauchemin. Born in Quebec, Canada, 1980, this left-handed defenseman was drafted 75th overall in 1988 by the Montreal Canadiens. Francois is, you'd think, right? Maybe, played a couple seasons, this and that. No, this man had a 900-game career, stemming from 2002 to 2018, where he spent time with the Montreal Canadiens, the Columbus Blue Swedish chef, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Colorado Avalanche, and where he spent the majority of his career with the Anaheim Ducks. In 903 career games, he had 76 goals, 212 assists, 490 penalty minutes across 101 101 games in the playoffs, 10 goals, 29 assists, 80 penalty minutes, and 1 Stanley Cup, which he won with the Ducks in 2007. He retired in 2018 and is currently just living his life. I happen to think of players that just kind of were popping in my head. I was like, oh, you know what? Let's throw it back to a player who's not like a nobody, but someone that I think a lot of people forget about. He was a great defenseman, had a very lengthy career, a very respectable career, and spent the majority of his career with one team, which I know we all value that among a player with a franchise. He lives in Anaheim still with his family. He has 2 children, a son and a daughter, and I imagine one, if not both of them, will probably end up playing hockey. He also won a world championship with Canada in 2010. All rookie team in 97 for the QMJHL, which is a level of the Canadian Hockey League, as well as 1998 CHL Top Prospects Game, President's Cup winner in 99, and was second All-Star team in the NHL in 2013. So shout out Francois Beauchemin, for being our Obscure NHL Player of the Week.
Very, very nice. Well, thank you for that, Chris. Are we all ready for our brain teaser? None of us have used Google. Checking in with you, chat, especially. You bunch of Google users.
So are we ready to hear it one more time before giving our answers?
Yes.
Tell those bastards not to Google it either.
Don't Google it, you fucks. I see you. At 18 years, 153 days old, Jordan Staal became the youngest player in NHL history to do what? A, score a hat trick. B, score a goal, C, record a fight, or D, be ejected from a game?
All right. Danger, what's your guess?
It's purely a guess, but if I'm right, I'm gonna say I knew it. Right. Between you and I. I'm gonna say A. The hat trick.
Okay.
I don't know. If that's
All
right
right.
or not. I'm torn between that and the last one.
Sure. Maul, what is your guess?
I'm going with the little D because it's appropriate.
That's a
All
B.
right, that's a B.
Well,
but-
on my
That's
screen
a
it
B
looks like
for
a
Are
D.
you
babe.
saying
so-
Jordan Stahl?
There it is. That's
On my
that's
screen it
There you
looks
go.
different. My screen's backwards. It's a little D.
Little D.
Little D.
All right. I am going to say D as well. Not because Maul
Okay.
did. I had that thought first, but I'm the host, and so I have to let other people go first. So my guess is also D, Chris.
Okay. Well, on February 10th, 2007, as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins, in a game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, Jordan Staal became the youngest player in NHL history to record a hat trick at 18 years, 153 days old. His stats were 3 goals, no assists, and with a plus-minus of +1. Fun fact, the second entry on that list was only 30 days older, or he did it 30 days later, where Patrick Laine in 2016, at 18 years, 183 days old, recorded a hat trick as a member of the Winnipeg Jets against, ironically, also the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Hey, at least we're involved.
Yeah,
D,
at
we're
this
bad.
point,
We're batting
Was it
100.
Yager in that too? I
I
feel
don't
like he
think-
was one of the youngest to have a hat trick.
he
but
is
maybe
not
I'm
on the
remembering it.
list.
Okay, then I'm remembering it right.
D, we're batting
no,
100
I'm
that
sorry.
every time we agree on something, we're wrong. So we got to
No.
stop doing that.
That's fair.
Danger is correct. He is 20th on this list at 18 years, 352 days old. You are correct. In a game in 91
was
as a
almost
member of the
19.
Penguins against the
Okay.
Boston Bruins,
I
he
still
scored
thought
3
he was
goals.
higher up.
Yeah.
I
Wayne
must not be
Gretzky-
remembering one of it.
Wayne Gretzky's first hat trick, he was 19. There's a lot of amazing names on this list. Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Steve Yzerman, Macklin Celebrini, Leo Carlson, Steven Stamkos, Austin
Carlson.
Matthews, all players before the age of 20 who score their first
Wow.
hat trick. Good,
I know you said
good
Leo,
guess.
but it made
Amazing.
me remember that I missed John.
Well,
So,
John and
thanks for
Leo
that.
almost had an assist goal combination on Saturday night.
Listen, I
and
want
I
to hear
got-
about it. It's too
I
fresh.
had a half chub the whole time. It was hot Carlson and Carlson action.
This was more info than I needed to know
On that
about you.
note, thank you all so much
I
for
know.
joining us. Please remember to drop any of your thoughts down below in the comments on whatever platform you're watching us. Be sure to hit the follow, the like, the share, all the buttons you can find. Press them. You won't know what they do until you press it, so why not? Give it a shot. Couldn't possibly be like nuclear codes or anything.
Also,
It'll be
hype the
fine.
video.
Or could
If
it?
that's an option down at the bottom, make sure you hype the video. It puts
Whoa,
us out
I
towards
didn't
the
mean to
front.
do that. I'm so sorry. I was trying to find the duck because I just wanted to do the duck sound. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's so fucking funny. There's a short for TikTok.
Well,
So sorry.
Oh, that was so
oh
good.
my God.
Thank you for that. That was terrific. That was terrific.
Well, on that note, mother puckers, thank you for joining us this week. We will see you, mother puckers, in the face-off circle next week.